Hello and welcome back. I'm Lincoln, and today is the 29th day of October, which means our October 3D sculpting challenge prompt for the day was Ghost. I'm going to put up the rest of the prompt list now, and today's main topic is changing the pressure sensitivity for your brushes so you can make tapered strokes. And as always, I'll have this all divided up into chapters for you so you can skip ahead if you like. Alright, let's grab your iPad or other device, and let's go make a little ghost. Alright, today we're going to use a default sphere. I know I don't use that very often, but today with regular sculpting this is going to be perfect. Alright, I'm going to give myself, with the paint tool, just a couple quick marks so I know kind of where I'm at. I'll give just the face real quick, and just going to do each side. That way I just kind of know where I'm at. It just makes it easier to sculpt, and you guys totally don't have to do that. That's just something I like to do to stay straight. Especially if I turn the grid off, it's gone, and now you can lose track pretty quick, and it just makes it a little bit easier. Alright, first thing I'm going to do is grab the move tool, and we're going to start pulling the arms out, and I'm going to leave symmetry on for now, and I'm just going to kind of do something, just kind of a little ghost-like shape. Alright, and make these a little bit bigger, and I'm not sure when I'll do it, but I'm sure I will start to kind of skip ahead, and I'm just going to start with symmetry on, and you can see here we're starting to get pretty pixelated. I'm going to come down here and just hit the voxel, and it's going to tell me multi-resolution is gone. Alright, and grab the smooth and just kind of knock back that hard edges, and you'll see the paint's kind of gone. That's not a big deal. I mean, I know where I'm at now. Not a huge thing. Grab the move tool. We're going to blow this thing up quite a bit and just start shaping, and it won't be long before our shape is kind of where we want it. And for this, it's always best, I'm usually, when I'm doing hard sculpting, which we've done a lot of, the thing with hard sculpting is using your, your mesh and bringing it up to 500 or so. Makes a lot better, makes more sense to go that high because you're hitting hard edges. For this though, we don't need to hit any hard edges, so you want to keep it at a lower resolution, as you can see, until we're done kind of getting our big rough form shaped in, and that's looking pretty good. So now I'm going to turn off symmetry because I'm pretty much done with that. We're going to go ahead and voxel remesh. Alright, and we'll see how this goes with the inflate tool. Alright, so what we're going to talk about, what I was saying, is come up to the pressure sensitivity. It's the finger in the hand, or the pencil in the hand rather. And you can see I've changed mine up. So your normal preset are these. This is what you're normally set in. And it's always, you do this, oops, that's way too big. You do a stroke, it's the same. There's no change from end to end. Now, if we go back, and you can play all these different presets, but I kind of like this one right here. That's a nice one, that one down at the bottom. It does for me anyway, and it's going to be dependent on everybody how you like to do this. But you can get, smooth transitions, fairly smooth. And you see here, it's got a pretty good angle to it at the first part, and then it gets full size. So it's all about figuring out what pressure size you want to use and how big you want it to go. So it's just a matter of finding the sweet spot and the size and the pressure setting. And you can change the intensity too, and it'll help a little bit so it's not quite so intense. So you can see you can get your a little bit of variance in your stroke, and it's all about finding where you're at in these settings in here. Now, there's nothing saying that you have to use both of these. You can only use one for the radius if you want to change that up. You can do the intensity for your pressure. Might make it a little bit easier. Now, if you do, the difference is if you just do pressure, it will only do, you know, thin to thick on the height. And the radius will do the same thickness, but it will do different radius. So if you have them together, now you get like your V shape. It'll increase size as you go down, and your height. So use both. Now the thing is you can use this to rough in your shape. And like I said, it's just kind of playing with the size and figuring out what size you want to use for your wrinkles. There we go. That's pretty good right there. We'll leave it right there. Because what you can do is come up and use your crease tool, doing the same thing. And I would recommend something, you know, a softer edge. Depends on what you want to do. We could do something like this. And you can crease and sharpen that up. You can see that gets, you know, way too sharp. But and the other thing too is you need to be on sub, because if you crease in, it's going to go in. So go on sub. You can slide down and get your different shapes. Now, to knock that down, you can voxel remesh, use your flatten tool, and just kind of knock the hard sides down and smooth. And you'll start getting pretty convincing wrinkles here pretty fast. Alright, so I'm going to kind of work around it a little bit and throw some wrinkles in the body, pull the edges down, and I think I may start by pulling the edges down first. So I'll grab the move tool, increase the size. Oh, and the other thing with the pressure sensitivity, so this one doesn't use it, but say we're back in the inflate tool, you can use this as a global or not. So if it's just going to be on the inflate, then you have to change this again to your preset you want. And this way, if you do it like this, then each of your tools can have a different pressure setting. So it's something to play with and see how you like it. But you can get a lot more interesting shapes using that. It's just about, you know, figuring out the radius you want. And once we do a couple ones on the upper side, you know, coming up, we can do a few going down. So now I'll go to sub, go right in between. And once you hit the smooth tool on this, it'll start taking some shape, and then you can start, once you've done that, you can kind of come in here and start messing and folding a little more, and very quickly you'll get some nice wrinkles and forms shaping. So that's already looking pretty nice. So I'm going to just do this and work my way around, all the way around. Alright, so that's kind of got, you know, the shape of the ghost formed, and you can totally come in here and tweak this as much as you want. Now the next thing, if you want a little bit more tightness to those, just grab your crease brush, and I would say bring the intensity down. And I do have a different alpha in here. I'm not using the standard alpha, so it doesn't make a ton of difference on this, but it may, you know, enough that it may be a little different. So you can kind of use a crease brush on sub, because if you normal crease like I showed you, it'll go in. Now you can kind of tighten these up a little bit if you want, and give them a little bit harder shape if you like. And I'm just going to work this a little bit now too. Alright, so now we'll go ahead and I'm just going to go ahead and just paint the whole thing now that we know that we're kind of where we want. And I would say, you know, obviously this is, I'm going with kind of a cloth look. So just looking to where it just disappears off of the paint, you know, and the reflection of the lights. Now I'm going to use the move brush, and I'm going to kind of pull the head up a little bit more and push it forward, kind of like it's got a little something in it, make a little more sense. And get something shaped here. Alright, so that's looking pretty good. And just kind of make it look a little bit like it's got a little movement going. Alright, so some of these wrinkles, I'm going to work them a little bit further up the head, and I'll be back. Alright, so we're going to leave it like that. Alright, now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the arms. Actually, you know what? We're going to stretch those a little bit, but we'll cut them first. So let's just snap to the front. Now I'm going to come in here and name the body. Keep that open. Let's go ahead and whoops, split. Use the lasso tool, and I'm just going to cut this right out. And let's come up here, darken unselected, so we know that it's a little bit easier to see your splits that way. Alright, and since this one's still selected, we'll come up and split this one off. This way we can pose it, and I'm going to stretch these arms a little bit, get a little more length on the arms. So let's just grab one. We're going to come in here though and go ahead and change the names. So sometimes these change and it depends on what it is. So you'll have to go back in. So this one is going to be the left arm instead. Should be the body, but that's just kind of the way it works sometimes. Okay, so we're going to grab the body, bring it up to the top. And with these two, we're just going to connect these two. So that way, when you move everything around, you'll have everything selected. So if we close this up and click it, you'll see that we have everything selected and we can move everything as one. All right, so let's just start with left arm, grab the gizmo, and we're just gonna move it out and stretch it. That looks about right. And the right arm, same thing. Stretch it out a little bit. Alright, so now we have some arms we can move around, and those proportionally look fine. Now the next thing we're going to do is click on the body. I'm going to solo that one. We're going to remesh it because if you look at the wire, the sides are all messy. So let's go ahead and just remesh. And it's already kind of suggesting that, so that's fine. Let's grab the flatten brush. I'm just going to knock those spots down right here. And it's kind of depends on how you want to use these and connect these, but I'm going to make it kind of like this, and you'll see why in just a second. Smooth that up, turn off solo. Alright, so now we've got a good spot we can put the arms into. So now we'll pick each arm. We can turn off the wire. We're good. We understand what's going on now. Solo. I'll flatten these on the sides after we remesh. Double tap, you can recenter your camera. Makes life a little bit easier. Smooth that. Alright, so for this, I just kind of get an area like that, you know, fairly smooth. Now what we'll do is grab the inflate brush, make it pretty good size, and whoops, not on sub. And plus, we'll just kind of round that up a little bit. And now when we take it off solo, we can put it right in the body, and it'll make it easier to pose. And let's click on this, same thing. So I'll skip ahead for this one. Okay, so now we have arms we can pose. Now, when we go up here, we can grab each one individually. Obviously, we can grab the body. So if we grab the body and we go to gizmo, you can see the gizmos, that's in the back. So let's go to the front. You can see the gizmo is in the center of the body, and that's fine. So if we just grab the arm, you can see it's a way off to the side. So let's fix all our pivots real quickly. And just come to the side, and it's pretty much in the center, it looks like, of the arm, which is good. All right, so that one we can leave and just click on your pivot. All right, so we're gonna click on this one, do the same thing, fix your pivots, and roughly center is good. That'll be all right. I mean, it doesn't have to be perfect. We're gonna sculpt back into it in a minute anyway. So that looks good. So when you click these all together, it goes to there, and then you have each of your individual ones. And if you grab both of these, they'll be in the center. So you can adjust this pivot point to each one you have selected, and it'll stay that way. It's pretty cool. All right, so now if we just grab all these, we can move and pivot everything. And if we just grab one, we can move these guys. All right, so let's go to the front. We'll move everything back to the origin there. All right, so the right arm, let's see. Let's maybe move him kind of forward and up. And this arm, I'm gonna move forward here. All right, that's pretty good. Now let's see. Do that one. Yeah. Yeah, I like that pose. Okay, super simple, super easy. All right, now if you wanted to save this, I'm going to save this, open up a new one and bring it in. That way I have this one, it's posable, and the other one we're going to combine and use this pose. So come up here, save your ghost, yes. I'm going to open a new one and we will delete the sphere, and I'm going to add, whoops, not that, we're going to add to the scene, we're going to add the ghost. So now if you go and save this, we'll just call this solid ghost. Name that solid. So when you go to open, you still have your ghost that you can pose and your solid one. So this one we're going to go and combine and put together. So this guy, we'll go ahead. Now we could put it together right now, but we'd have a lot more work to do. So it's a lot easier to bring in all of your parts and pieces first. So let's click on the arm, grab the inflate tool, and just kind of start inflating and bringing that arm back into the body so it's easier to deal with. And then this one, same thing, because it's a lot further out. And you can also do the body and bring it up to it. And you'll have a lot less to mess with if you do it this way. Just kind of work them both until you kind of get the shape, the rough shape you want before we sculpt this all together and combine it. That's looking pretty good. A little bit more on the body right here. All right, so now we're going to come up and just grab all three, voxel merge. I'm going to merge it up a little bit higher this time. All right, so now we can just use the smooth brush and kind of smooth all of everything up a little bit. And get rid of all those harsh lines. And then I'm just going to use the move and inflate and just kind of get everything shaped, and I'll be back. Okay, so I'm back. Just kind of did some forming on it. I'm going to go ahead and remesh it because it's going to have all kinds of nastiness going on. Go through and smooth it a little bit. Just kind of knock the hard edges off. I don't want it too sharp. And just kind of give it a little something. Because when it's lit, you're not going to see really too much how thick all this is. It's not a terribly big deal, and not taking this too serious. A big thing today was just showing you guys kind of the pressure sensitivity is a big thing on this. All right, and the next thing I'm gonna do, because we're already painted a white, which is good, and I know it doesn't look white, but that's because I'm in this environment. If you go to something else, it'd be white. I just like this one, it's easier to see. All right, next thing I'm gonna do is go to a black with the paint, and just wanna do, that's way too big. Just give it some eyes. And you can see here, we're pretty pixelated. So what we're gonna do is come up here, and if your device is capable, push up to around 700 on this. It'll make the eyes and mouth look a little better. So that looks much nicer. Make them different sizes, kind of stay with our whole cartoon theme, and let's give it a big mouth. And I like that one. Let's push it off this side. That looks better. I like that. That looks much better. Okay, so last thing we're going to do is just light this thing up. So we're going to pick a material, and I'm going to go with the refraction. And let's go reflectance all the way up. And I know we don't have much going on yet, but what we're going to do is add a light. So you can add it so many different ways, but we'll just go in the menu since this is a new thing you can do. Click on add, come down here, and I want a point light. So I'm going to add a point light, and we're going to put it up. I don't know, we're going to kind of play with it, whether we like it in the head or in the body, because it's going to give it a different effect both ways. So just get it in there, and that's it right there. Looks pretty good. We're in the body. All right, and now it's just a matter of, you know, what color do you want? Oops, the light, and I'm going to turn on the light icon so I can find it. So if you click that on, even if we click off the light, you can see that icon. You can click on it and go back to it. That way, if we touch something else and lose it, it's easier to find. So I'm going to go with, I don't know, maybe kind of a crazy green color, kind of like. All right, now look at that, it's not much going on, so let's bring the intensity up until it starts to glow. That's pretty good, maybe a little, probably a little harsh. Let's bring the intensity down a little bit. And it's just a matter of, you know, you want it in the head, you want it down the body a little bit. You don't want more than one, you could do a couple different colors. So I think maybe kind of right there looks good. And maybe we'll go ahead and give it one more light just to kind of light the whole thing up a little. And add another light, and this one's going to be a spotlight instead. Just grab that. Get down, maybe down here to kind of light the rest of them a little bit. And that looks good. And maybe a little bit different color green maybe, or just that color green and a little darker. And the intensity up. And bring them a little closer. And bring intensity way up. And give it a little, so you can see the rest of this form a little bit, and that's a little much. Down a little, there we go. So we're not taking away from the glowing effect as much, but I think maybe go and change the color. I think that might help what we're trying to do. Yeah, give it maybe a blue, just a dark blue. Kind of rim light him a little. Here, down, yeah, maybe a little further. There we go. A little more to the front. There. I like that. I think we'll just leave it right there for today. Alright, I hope you guys have been enjoying these tutorials for October 3D. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Alright, thanks.